imagined that wearing masks in public to slow the spread of COVID-19 would be so fraught? Here with another good word is therapist Dr. Jonathan Eric Carroll. Good morning.
Good morning.
Have you seen anything as divisive as wearing a mask?
It's been a long time, but in my lifetime, I would say this ranks among the top of those divisive factors in our nation.
What are we seeing here? I mean, what are we really witnessing when we have this real big blowback from some people?
It's common during times of high anxiety for there to be resistance. We're seeing it, people resistant to some people wearing a mask and some people not wearing a mask. And we're experiencing some of the rationale, even the spread of some mis or disinformation. There are two primary phenomena that are likely driving these attitudes towards the mask question, and they are polarization and reactance. On the one hand, especially in the social media universe, people who hold opposing worldviews are driving greater polarization. And as I've said, social media is the major driver. What we need is people who are diametrically opposed on primarily and chiefly political issues to agree publicly and to support unequivocally the public health recommendations that are offered to us by our nation's leading scientists, including the CDC, Johns Hopkins, the Mayo Clinic, et cetera. Otherwise, the polarization, I think, will worsen. And then on the other side, the polarization around mask wearing is intertwined with the phenomenon called reactance, which is a motivational state activated when people perceive a threat to their freedom of choice. People are engaging in anger, arguments, downright denying of the public health message, and of course refusing to wear masks, maybe belittling other people who do wear masks and offering flimsy reasons of why we shouldn't. What we need to do is have public officials crafting messages that appeal to the restoration rather than the restriction of freedom. We need people telling stories about how wearing masks allows them to go out in public and eat at their favorite restaurants and be in their grocery stores and gather with friends with social distancing, hand washing, and keeping our hands away from our faces. Rather than restrictive messages about what's being held from us, we need restorative ones about how we're keeping our freedoms because we're making safer efforts to wear masks and keep each other safe.
Well, for folks who are dealing with colleagues or in personal relationships where you have the mask wearer and the adamant, I'm not going to wear a mask, what kind of conversation starters would you suggest?
You know, our history in our country is one made of personal sacrifice. I remember a story about military service during the time of World War II. People gave up the freedom to eat chocolate because they wanted to send all the chocolate that was being manufactured to soldiers, right? That was seen as a patriotic expression of self-sacrifice. I think people who are in dialogue with difference, as always, need to show respect, really listen, try to understand where the other is coming from, accept that position without judgment or evaluation, and maintain a solid footing in one's own discipline and conviction. So if I'm wearing a mask and someone else isn't, I don't need to have an opinion about that. I just know that I'm going to be doing what's safe for me and what I believe is helping produce the most safe experience and context for people around me.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much always for adding your wisdom. May your words resonate out there today, and thank you. Stay well.
I hope so. You too. Stay safe. Thank you.
We'll be back with more Lifestyles right after this. Stay with us.